What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for March 13th, 2023. Let's start with today's Philly sports women's history spotlight. Today we spotlight Bonnie Rosen, who is Temple's women's lacrosse coach. She's a Harrington native, was an All-American honorable mention in lacrosse in 87 and an All-American 88, All-American in 88 while playing for Harrington High School. She went on to play at the University of Virginia, where she was an All-American. She also played field hockey, helped them win the national championship in lacrosse in 1991. She is on the ACC's 50th anniversary lacrosse team. In 1997 and 2001, she won a gold medal at the Lacrosse World Cup. She's entering her 17th season at Temple as their head coach. She has 209 wins, which makes her the 19th winningest active coach. She's taken them to 4 NCAA tournament appearances. She's in the Lacrosse Hall of Fame, the Philly Sports Hall of Fame, Philadelphia Jewish Sports Hall of Fame, Harrington High School Hall of Fame, and likely will eventually be inducted into the Temple Hall of Fame. I've seen her around a couple times when I was on campus many, many years ago, but definitely always one of the stronger teams in the country in lacrosse. She was one hell of a player herself. Local girl, came back and still living in the area. I believe she's in Ballackinwood now, but today we spotlight Bonnie Rosen, Temple's women lacrosse player, not only for her coaching career at Temple, but as well as her playing career at Harrington as well as Virginia. So shout out to you, Bonnie. All right, so where to start? Lots going on. And one thing that I did mention kind of at the end, actually at the very, very end of yesterday's podcast, that you may have missed if you waited for me to sign off, was yesterday was Selection Sunday. It is March Madness. This is the first time since 1977 that there are no Philly men's team in the tournament. It happened in 1976 and 1977. And the last time before that was 1957. So it's not something that happens very, very often. So there are no local teams. If you want to root for Penn State, you have them. I can't necessarily bring myself to do that. If you really, really want to root for someone, Villanova's women are the 4 seed in their tournament. So you might want to check them out. They have a lot of good players, All-American player. So probably will be checking them out. But first time since 1977 that no local teams are in. Kind of sucks. But big win for the Sixers. Like I mentioned previously, all wins at this point are big for them. They've now won 5 straight with a 112-93 win over the Wizards. They're still 3 games back of Milwaukee, 1.5 back of Boston in the standings, with about, I think I saw or heard, 15 games left to go. So pretty much the stretch run now for the Sixers. Big goal now, honestly, is to keep that 3rd seed and stay healthy. No, we don't want any freak injuries, and it seems like the past few years there's always some stupid injury that affects them heading into the playoffs. So we want to try to avoid that while also winning and keeping that 3rd seed. Quick update on the Flyers. Danny Briere actually spoke to the media yesterday. I actually really liked what he had to say. He's like, look, this is a rebuilding. It's going to take time. We don't have to re-gut or tear everything down. He was like, get rid of everybody. We have some pieces in place that we can build around. But he used the word, which for years the Flyers had never wanted to use the word rebuilding. He said, no, we need to, this is a rebuilding project. The other thing, too, that I like is one of the things they need to do is move on from the past and get some fresh ideas, fresh blood in there. And yes, Danny Briere was someone who played for them, played well, had some big playoff goals, but he actually has been walking the walk. Like, he has been busting his ass to learn the business side of the game. Went to Wharton, worked with a lot of people outside of the Flyers organization. So, like, while he played for the Flyers, it's not like a Bobby Clark where he bleeds Flyers orange and black. So I think hopefully they give him a shot to see what he does, because I know he's put in his homework. He was very instrumental apparently in developing Giroux. So he's able to see both sides. Like, he understands the business point, but also from the player perspective and development. And he's been working with scouting and things like that. So hopefully, like I said, they give him a chance, because I think that is the kind of guy they need, younger, to take them into wherever they need to go. All right, today is, I guess it's not officially the opening of the NFL season, but teams can start what they call the legal tampering aspect of free agency, where they can begin negotiating and things like that. This is going to be a make or break year, I think, for Howie. Yeah, he's made the moves, taking us to 2 Super Bowls, but because of his, they call them dummy years, where he'll renegotiate, restructure a contract and put a lot of years at the end of a contract as far as salary cap reasons. Well, now this year they have the most dead cap space of any team at $54 million. So he's definitely going to have to get creative and work his way through this season. I think, again, I think they're going to take a step back this year. I think that it's going to be big to see what he does in the draft, who he can restructure, trade, and things like that. But be sure to be on the lookout, too, for the new Back to the Future this week, where we take a look at the best and worst Eagles draft picks of all time. Or, I'm sorry, not draft picks, free agent signings of all time. That'll probably drop either Wednesday or Thursday. Still trying to get adjusted from being back in Mexico. But in honor of the legal tampering period and of almost the start of the new NFL season, we're going to go back to 2015 today. And on this day in 2015, Chip Kelly, who recently just received the general manager duties of the Eagles at this time, announced officially the signings of Demarco Murray and Ryan Mathews at a press conference down at the NovaCare complex. My favorite quote of that, because if you remember, they had traded Lesean McCoy that offseason for Kiko Alonso. And basically, they signed Murray and Mathews, and he said, well, we had that money allotted for running back anyway. Now we're getting 2 players instead of 1. Neither one of them worked out very well. But if you remember that offseason, he also traded Nick Foles for Sam Bradford, which ultimately somehow it worked its way out that Nick Foles came back. He did re-sign Brandon Graham that offseason, which was good. But if you remember, they brought in Brian Maxwell, Miles Austin, and it was actually Chip's last season as coach of the Eagles because of how well he did that offseason. But I don't know. Still kind of bitter that LeSean didn't get the chance to finish out his career. But on this day in 2015, Chip Kelly officially announced DeMarco Murray and Ryan Mathews as members of the Eagles, essentially the replacements for LeSean McCoy. And we know DeMarco Murray, who just the season before led the league in rushing, basically didn't do anything for the rest of his career. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. Hopefully we'll have some updates on what Howie has in his bag of tricks for this year. But I don't know. It's going to be tough because of just the creativity and the way he did those contracts. It's basically, it caught up with him this year, and then they'll be fine moving forward. But it's this year now. They're just like, ugh. But hopefully he can do some Howie things. He's done some pretty miraculous things in his career here. So hopefully he can get himself out of the hole he dug himself in. But go have yourselves a Monday. It's weird not having any local Philly teams in March Madness this year, but it is what it is. Shout out to you, Bonnie Rosen. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.